Are there other areas of concern for you guys? Because I feel like most years we go into this with way more concerns. I mean, maybe safety, right? Other than Epps is concerning. But I feel like most years there's at least 4 or 5 positions where you're like, oh, I don't feel like that's the case this year. All right, we're back, everybody. Thanks for hanging with us. Hope you're having a great Friday. Hope you'll also have an awesome weekend. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Derek, Barrett, Rob, we're talking Eagles and the open practices, the second of which will take place today in about an hour-ish, give or take. Then we'll do walkthroughs, both teams tomorrow. Then the game on Sunday is the way that's going to work. Miles Sanders out with a hamstring, guys, and this is not any kind of breaking news, but he is a guy who has struggled to stay healthy, excluding his rookie year where he played all 16. He missed 4 the following year, and he missed 5 last year. And now he's on the shelf again. We don't know the severity of this thing, but he is out right now. He will not he did not take part in practice yesterday. So that's where things are with him. We had Brandon Lee Gatton on a little bit earlier who said, he's not, and Barrett, you could speak to this, has not been overly impressed with Kenneth Gainwell. He did have a hip thing going on, and maybe that's the reason for the slow start. That aside, they don't have a ton of depth there, and there is questions about how big they are at the position as well. Much to do about nothing, or this is an area in which they should probably address?
I don't see them. I don't see them necessarily going into the well right now. I think they do have a lot of faith in Sanders being healthy. They're banking on him being healthy. They can always go to Howard, but Howard was not really their thing. That was kind of what the former head coach would do. I mean, you look at a guy like Christopher Carson. He's going to cost you, probably as much as the three of those guys, together, what they make.
He's had a lot of injuries too.
Yeah. But I mean, he's the back that they would be looking for. A guy that's going to run downhill, bigger back, and that's what they need is a bigger back. Gainwell, he is what he is. Gainwell's a third down back. He doesn't run well in between the tackles. He hasn't shown the capacity to run in between the tackles. Boston Scott has run in between the tackles. He can play in the red zone. You give him the rock, but I mean, he fumbled last year at some crucial points. So this is a position where they can't afford to carry a lot of stock in it. You can't just have guys waiting in the wings. So they're not going to do anything before camp. But I think they're always going to have somebody just sitting there waiting that, they can bring in, like a Howard guy to come in. But this isn't. It's funny you say that because this isn't an offense that you would say would be a passing offense. It's a running offense, run-based. Mm-hmm. And we don't have a lot of backs, that could kind of carry the load like they should for a team that runs the ball as much as they should. They must do.
Well, you look at when it comes to training camp, you're talking about depth. In terms of taking a lot of pressure off guys, you want your frontline guys to get a lot of work, but they also need to be spelled. And with this hamstring thing, as we all know, you don't know. It could feel good one day and bad the next day. And I don't see them getting jittery and scouring the waiver wires right now or the free agent market right now looking for a running back. But at some point, especially if this hamstring thing lingers, over a lengthy period of time as it gets closer to the regular season, they may have to address this issue because of a lack of depth. Even if they keep Huntley, they may have to try to bury somebody on a practice squad just as an insurance policy. And there's going to be a lot of good running backs cut at the end of these training camps. Young backs who we don't even know about, but backs who could fit the scheme that Nick Sirianni likes to run. Hopefully it's a bigger back. I look at the back and I think about Carlos Hyde. He's 31 years old, 9-year career. He's played for 7 different teams in 9 years.
Has he been with that many teams?
Yeah, but
wow, I know it's not. I thought it was usually like 20 for him.
But for his career, he's averaged 4.1 yards a carry. Plus, he's a big body, 6 feet, 230 pounds.
Yeah,
you need a back that can dive ahead and get you that extra 1 or 2 yards. And he's one of the toughest running backs in the game when he played. I hope they don't just get another scat back when they start looking at backs. If they start looking for a back, you need a bulldozer. You got a lot of gazelle type backs now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Boston Scott is a tough little dude, but you need a bigger back in there. You know, Jordan Howard. I don't care if they bring back Jordan Howard or not. There's a whole lot of Jordan Howards that are going to be sitting out there looking for jobs. Younger, fresher type Jordan Howards that they could possibly look at.
Yeah, I think this is a patience thing. I think when we get to the final cut down, which we're a little whiles away from, they're going to still have to play that last preseason game. I believe it's that Tuesday after the last preseason game. So we have a little bit here. We have a little. What's the matter?
Joey B, his wife commenting on Robbie E's window. Is that guy in a dorm room?
Wow. Taking shots. Okay. All right, Joey B.
Friendly fire. Friendly fire.
Hey,
man.
I am. We want to get a Pella or Guida or somebody to put in some new windows. I'm down. Let's go, man.
Man.
But yeah, so I think it's going to be, I think if they do make a move, they wait till then and just see what guys, somebody might be cast off from another roster, man.
And they will. Fit. They will.
Yeah.
There's going to be some veteran backs whose feelings are going to be hurt when they get down to this 53-man roster.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. Yeah, that's the problem with them. Once you start getting long in the tooth, your worth starts getting lower and lower.
Yeah.
Because that number gets higher and higher.
Mm-hmm.
And running back is one of those positions where they don't give you an opportunity to grow old. You know what I'm saying? You don't get to mature at the running back position.
No.
Offensive linemen, they kind of mature as they go along.
Yeah, it's a good point.
But running back is it's a young man's game when you're a running back, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So
the shelf life is short.
Very short.
That is for sure. You're going to be looking at that. You maybe there's a guy who can fit a dual role for you, who can also return kicks or punts and play the running back position. Maybe that happens. I don't know about you guys. I watched some of that game last night, the Bears and the Seahawks, because I'm just a masochist.
Yeah, you are.
Hey, I went so far as to tape it and then watch it later.
Yeah, we're all maniacs, but you could not have played worse than Seattle played in that game. I don't know. I mean, it was hideous how bad they were.
But see, that's the problem, Rob. You could not have played worse. That's not worse for them. That's who they are.
Yeah, right.
That's who the Bears are.
Yep. Oh, they're too awful. I think they're both gonna be awful. I was surprised. Like, I think Louis Riddick has a really good handle on things from ESPN. He was one of the guys who called the game along with Steve Levy and Dan Orlovsky. They called the game last night. He seems to be pro Seattle surprising teams this year. And again, I really respect Louis, but I'm like, man, I'm not seeing that.
I don't know. Geno Smith or Drew Lock. And Drew Lock right now is dealing with COVID. And Pete Carroll said he's really sick with this COVID.
Yeah, so it sounds really like he's got got it really bad. Yeah.
How long is he going to be out? You never know. If he's real sick, I mean, geez.
Yeah.
So now they're down a quarterback.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't see I like the receivers, Metcalf, Lockett, but I don't see a ton of talent there generally on that team. And the Bears, man, do they lack talent? Whoa.
They're both two bad rosters, bro. Either way you look at it, the two bad rosters, because when you look at Seattle, it's just the quarterback situation. They're in full rebuild mode.
Oh, it's more than a quarterback situation up there.
Right. So, but why, I don't understand why you would pay both receivers that amount of money and you don't have a quarterback. Didn't make sense to me.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know what it feels like, Barrett? It feels like they're kind of trying to have things. Like they keep Carroll in place. They pay the receivers. They don't have a quarterback. They kind of let Bobby Wagner and some other, good pieces go over the last couple of years. Like, are you really rebuilding, or are you just sort of trying to keep people in the seats?
No, that's what it is. Keep people in the seats. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly what it is. They have absolutely nothing, you know what I'm saying? I mean, to get, remember you bought Marquise Goodwin.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yep.
Come on now.
Yeah.
They got JJ there, bro. They really traded for JJ.
I know. There was a play last night. Jacob Eason made a pretty good throw on it. So our thing of Whiteside's, it was a tough catch. This is not one where it was just a blatant drop. So I'm not saying that at all. It was a really tough catch, but he makes the catch. The defender draped all over him. And when he hit the ground, it came out. All I could think is just like that sums him up. Like he almost makes the great catch. He can't and it's incomplete, and that's just sort of who he is, man. J Jaw.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I don't want to laugh too much because we thought Mac Hollins would be out of the league by now, and Mac Hollins has found his niche with the Raiders. As a special teams player, J Jaw at least was a good special teams player. He just had deficiencies when it came to getting separation and securing passes. J.J. may go up there and find his niche under Pete Carroll. Who knows?
He can play special teams. So, yeah. I to me, if I'm him at this point, I just emphasize that part of my game. That could get you 10 years in the league if he can keep doing that.
Oh, no question about it.
And I don't even want to talk about the Bears, man. The Bears are just.
Well, here's what they're doing back. Here's the problem with the Bears situation. You're giving Justin Fields like no help. The offensive line's not nearly good enough.
They got a like rookie starting, a 5th-round rookie starting at tackle.
I know, and I like Mooney, but I don't. I like Komet a little bit, but I don't love their other weapons that he's going to have to throw to. So it's a bad line and not a ton of weapons. And you can get guys like that. I don't care who it is. He starts getting happy feet and get beat up too much, man. It could permanently scar him.
He could be the next Carr.
Right. Yeah.
Next David Carr.
If I'm that head coach, I'm thinking, did I really make a smart move taking this job? This could be my death sentence of my coaching career. Taking that mess.
You know what? It's fair. Let me stay with the Eagles for a minute. Other than running back and the obvious with the return game, are there other areas of concern for you guys? Because I feel like most years we go into this with way more concerns. I mean, maybe safety, right? Other than Epps is concerning. But I feel like most years there's at least 4 or 5 positions where you're like, oh, I don't feel like that's the case this year with this team.
No, I mean, you say running back
and safety,
maybe tight end, just from health
depth,
situation.
Depth at tight end.
The depth at tight end, the depth at not really the depth, but somebody opposite of Epps.
Yeah, like is Anthony Harris even if you play him in the box, is he worthy of starting?
Right. And special teams. Special teams is still, I can't say it enough, man. Special teams is going to be a thorn in our back. It used to, I'm just so used to it being something that, we put a lot of stake in it. You know what I'm saying? We just start putting a lot of stake in anything as far as special teams. Yes, we have a great kicker. Jake Elliott is that dude. I guess Sipos is going to come back and bounce back from last year.
Really? You think?
I hope so. But I'm looking at the gunner position. I don't see anything happening as far as the gunner position. I don't see anybody in the return game and punts. I see kickoff return if he makes the squad. Jason Huntley.
Yeah.
But other than that, what I'm saying, we don't have a returner right now in the punt game. No return in the punt game. We can't flip the field as far as gunners and stuff in that game. So I don't know how you go forward. That's a starter. A starter in special teams means something, man. You can flip the field. You can give your offense better field position. Defense go up and stop them all day. But if you allow them to go out there and get a 50-yard kickoff return like they did against the Jets, then, it's all for naught.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, on the flip side, though, I think they're really deep at receiver, at offensive line, at interior defensive line and defensive end. At linebacker, they're pretty deep. At, corner, you feel good about corner for the first time in a while. So there's a lot of good here. I think Howie's assembled a really good roster here. And a roster that I think is much improved from last year. And they won 9 last year with a first-year coach and a first-year starting quarterback. So I think there's a lot of reason for optimism with this season. I truly believe that.
I would say when it comes to the cornerbacks, they are good when it comes to the frontline cornerbacks. They're 3 deep in Slay, Maddox, and Bradbury. After that, I have my questions. Now, they're young people developing, but to what degree are they developing? I hate to say it, but somebody's going to go down, whether it's for 1 game, 2 games, somebody's going to go down. It's just the nature of the business. Who's stepping in to step up once that one person goes down? That's my concern. And every team has that problem. Right. You can have Pro Bowl frontliners, but then you have significant drop off on the back end. I get that, but so I'm concerned that if Bradbury or Slay or Maddox goes down, do you feel comfortable about whoever's going to step up and step in for one of those guys?
Yeah,
and that's a huge question mark.
I'm kind of comfortable with Josiah Scott, Zach McPherson, and maybe even Josh Jobe. I'm confident. I'm kind of confident in them.
But you're talking about guys who are relatively untested.
Oh, not relatively.
They're
very
untested.
McPherson is raw, but at least he's had a few reps. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But the other guys you just mentioned,
Scott's had a couple reps. Scott's had some experience. McPherson has some experience. Josh Jobe is a rookie. So you're right, that experience is not there.
Right.
I have more cause for concern when you're going into Kayvon Wallace. Maybe Amadi has some experience. Can he pick up the system?
Mm-hmm.
Reed Blankenship, rookie. Andre Shasher, what's his name?
Shasher, yeah. I
Shasher,
never pronounced it right.
Yeah, Shasher has some experience. Tay Goins, he hasn't done anything since we traded for him.
Yeah.
So I mean that secondary, besides the one deep, there's a lot of question, man, especially at the safety position. But I had so many expectations for Kayvon Wallace, man. I really had
I did too. I loved him coming out. I thought he was a steal coming out of, especially the school he came from,
Clemson. Yeah, they just won a national championship when they
feels like he's in trouble.
A lot of trouble. Anytime you go on and trade for guys this late, they're in a lot of trouble. Yeah.
Not a good sign. Well, what's your sense? I'll ask Derek. I'll start with you on this one. With Nick Sirianni, last year we find out he turned over the play calling to Shane Steichen.
Right.
We saw a team that started off 2-5. A lot of times when that happens and it goes off the rails like that, it's just gone. The train's going to careen off. But he really did, get things righted here, and they finished strong and got into the playoffs in the first year. So we're looking for that improvement with Hurts, with personnel. We're looking for the improvement with Gannon, with the personnel. How about Nick Sirianni as a coach now that he's got more of a complete roster on both sides, and just what he's going to be, and having gotten that first year out of the way and understanding everything that it entails to be an NFL head coach? I mean, I think the expectations should be really high there too.
No question about it. And I think the fact that he's giving up the play calling to Steichen takes one more thing off his plate that he has to worry about during games. As a head coach, he's going to be asking coaches a lot of questions, special teams coaches, defensive coaches. What are you doing there? Why did you call this? So on and so forth. If any coach is comfortable enough to give us a second in command, the offensive play calling, that tells me that, they're on the same page in terms of how they see a game, how they want to call a game. They think a lot alike. And I think Nick Sirianni is such a student of the game that he learned a lot of valuable stuff that first year as a head coach in the National Football League that will truly help him tremendously going into his second year. I like the fact that he can identify if his offense is struggling in certain areas that they can adjust on the fly. He feels comfortable enough with what he has that they can adjust on the fly to make the necessary changes. And that may even entail personnel grouping changes when it comes to certain situations and against certain opponents. When you're a head coach in the National Football League, the one thing you cannot be is afraid. You cannot be afraid to make change. You cannot be afraid to stand on what you believe in. When you look at their playbooks, they thoroughly believe in everything they have in their playbook. Now, obviously, everybody doesn't have the same amount of success. And of course, it depends on the personnel in which you're implementing your playbook with. But with Nick Sirianni, obviously, he felt comfortable last year with a lesser roster that he could make those changes and still find success when things are going bad. Now that the roster is better and deeper, I don't think the fear factor will come in one iota if he has to make a change in the course of a season, alter the game strategy a little bit here or there, because he feels good about the interchangeable parts in the offensive line, the wide receiving core. The only concern is how deep will his running back situation be, because that can mess up the passing game in terms of integrating the running backs if Miles Sanders is out more than he's in.
He strikes me as a confident guy, Barrett. He strikes me as a guy who's not afraid to do something, make a change, do something to shake it up a little bit. I know it's in consultation with the front office too. I get it. But I don't think he's one of these guys who's kind of timid or meek or, oh my God, what's everybody going to think if I do that? I don't sense that with Sirianni.
No, I mean, I like his, for him to be able to change midway through the season, especially under the advisement that, all right, we want a new, passing type of offense to come in here. We love the Tom Brady-esque type of offenses. And for him to make a change and be like, all right, I'm going in a different direction, and I'm going to let my guy call the plays. He's got some brass cojones, man. He's very confident in what he could do.
And I think maybe that was one of the selling points of why they brought him in.
Absolutely.
Because he was a guy who was pretty outspoken with things.
I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to do even better than he did last year, because now he's got the respect of the league. He already had the respect of his player, but he got the respect of the league. The league has taken notice that, this guy's pretty good. So I can see them. I can see, him just getting better and better as he goes on.
All right, we're going to come back and talk some Phillies with Greg Murphy, Phillies radio pre- and post-game show host. We'll talk to Greg from Citizens Bank Park, the site of a big series. 4 games this weekend. They play a doubleheader tomorrow. 4 games starting tonight. Phillies and the Mets. Will fill you in on what's going on from a pitching standpoint, which could be critical to this entire series. Then at 2 o'clock, we go back to the NFL discussion. We'll talk a little bit more to Deshaun Watson. What AFC and NFC teams make the playoffs? We'll give you a little news on a rookie quarterback maybe making a move. We'll preview week 10 of the NFL schedule as well. Don't go anywhere. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis, Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, let's talk some Razor technology. You got cyber threats like ransomware on a seemingly endless uptick, and the risk of a breach or data loss higher than ever. The need to know just who is accessing your network systems and applications is mission critical. Identity management from Razor Technology is a holistic framework of policies and technologies that lock down access to the right users for only the right reasons. We deploy cutting-edge solutions that identify, authenticate, and monitor access across your IT system. Razor Technology determines how users gain an identity into your system, what roles they need to fill, and enforces access controls and network protocols, along with digital certificates, behavioral analysis, and secure authentication methods. Talk to Razor Technology today to learn how to identify management that can reduce the risk of data breach while avoiding costly errors and downtime due to lack of access. Razor Technology, you can contact them at 866-797-3282, 866-797-3282, or visit them online, razor-tech.com. That's razor-tech.com.